Okay, it's different from fasting. Fasting is temporary. Okay, that's when like, okay, I'm not going to eat, I'm going to cleanse, but no, when you do this, you're actually taking in nourishment. That's the funny thing. It's the nutrition, what we think of as, and remember, health and nutrition is just energy. Nutrition comes from the subtle planes. Okay, that's why Jesus said man cannot live on bread alone. And he also said that I have food that you know nothing about. Okay, that means this energy cultivation, this presence of this prana, it's neglected in our lives. We searching for energy in secondary forms when this is the primary one that gives us energy. Only the unconditional love of God gives you that energy. So that's why another thing, do not create no other gods before me. So we created all these other delusions and stuff, and we say, oh, well, that's what keeps me alive. I got to get that. But the more pure, the more cleansed the body gets, the more you move into sexual purity as well. You could retain this light. Okay, and as you retain this light and meditate day in, day out, you don't need to eat and drink as much. You don't. Another good saying is, he who seeks righteousness will be filled, and hunger and thirst will go away. You will be filled with light. The body is powered by light. It's a signal that you're connecting to, much like Wi-Fi, okay? Wi-Fi is invisible, but inside the computer is a transducer, and it converts Wi-Fi into this experience of the internet. It's the same with your brain, the frontal lobe, your pineal gland. It takes this energy and it transduces it into what we see as our physical reality. So essentially, whenever you want to manifest something in life, the main things that you want to do is go on a fast from eating, a fast from having sex. Take that energy, instead of giving it to a man, or instead of giving it to digestion, to food, which is usually the two culprits that take the energy, food addiction and sex addiction. You take those two away and you decide to just meditate and power up. Eat more watery foods that are less easier to digest. And this is how you can then inscribe and change reality from the inside, from the thinking and feeling that's inscribed. But this thinking and feeling is backed up by spiritual power. It's much different. Okay, it's way different than just living a certain way and then trying to say or try to do affirmations but you can't get past the subconscious programming that you have. So in this state, you awaken the right side of the brain. Okay, the left side is the logical side, but the right side, that's your intuition. Okay, so that's more dealing with the non-physical. So when you open up the subconscious, then say your affirmations after this 30-minute meditation, then you will start to see how this world revolves actually is projected from your own unconscious. Okay, but we gave you a tangible experience. Okay, so it's a your own experience you have with the energy. It's not based on something you believe, it's what you know. You don't believe in God, you know. It's just like you could call a parent or a friend that love you, and you could have an exchange, a conversation with them. It's not, you don't believe that, you know it from experience. And it's the same with connection to energy, connection to unconditional love. Okay, so when you know it, you could harness it directly. You don't need no middleman or anything like that, because at your core, this is what you are. And what this energy does, as it circulates and comes in, it awakens dormant parts of the brain. You feel more brain activity, okay? As you do it on a day-to-day basis, you will feel more of it come into the top of your head. The pineal is kind of situated at the back, so you could feel a rush of energy coming in the back of your head, and it will start to circulate. This is the energy that awakens dormant DNA. But so people have to step more into this knowledge instead of just kind of making the assumption that, okay, well, it's the age of Aquarius. All of us are going to become, like this thing, enlightened. But I mean, just because some stars align don't necessarily mean you can become better. It gives you kind of like an edge, and, having melanin, being the indigenous, okay, being quote unquote black, right? That also gives you an edge as well, but that don't necessarily mean a Caucasian or someone can't overtake you if they don't do these things on a day-to-day basis. So also the whole thing with the black community, fall in love with hold on, that's this brother right here. 1 second. Tell him I can call him right back. Okay, so yeah, so the thing is to open up to these downloads. So you see how we did that, right? We did that for about 40 minutes. And when you started to move around, you kind of felt it, right? So you sitting in stillness. Then when you go outside, you walk barefoot, right? Go on the beach, wherever, and you remain in that stillness. You remain and you walk, you stay relaxed. While you moving, you still harnessing and bringing in that wisdom, that divine energy. This is how you can meditate for hours and hours and hours. Okay, this is how you bring in that what we call that evolution. People that do this, brothers and sisters that do this on a day-to-day basis, they are the ones that really getting the downloads on another level. Okay, because what stops it? It's the mind. The mind, and you will notice just from focus on a breath and being still, you would even a thought don't stop the connection. It don't matter if the mind run. After a while, the monkey mind can play, but eventually he can come sit down and sit with you, So you don't suppress the monkey mind. Neither do you suppress your animal side, your human side, all of that. It's more like something you manage, because if you allow the human side of you, the animal side of you to run your life, the beast will just basically waste up all your energy. You have to remember that the beast in you does not desire this. It's the light that desires this, okay? The light desires that expansion. And when you move into higher states, you start to be more selective of people you be around. Actually, you don't even have to do any of that, because the more you interface with this, the breath, this intelligence is looking for vessels to perfect. So when it can find a vessel that's open to its wisdom, it can get a little possessive over you. It wouldn't even allow certain people to be around you. Okay, it gets deep after a while. And then you would naturally attract to high frequency areas. You wouldn't even do it in thought. This is beyond thought. You accessing the Akashic records, your own, like, how do I say this? It's like your avatar is the cosmos. You are the universe. The cosmos, the nature, is an extension of your human body. This isn't just the only thing that you have any control over to some extent. You have nature elements, you're moving elements with this, and it's so simple. And what do? They make sure they don't want us to be in that state. So they would stage events, put it on the news to keep you in that fearful state. Fear causes tension, and it restricts the channels. Chi energy, this cosmic energy, wants to flow through you and expand. It doesn't want to stay trapped in the body, okay? So that's why you see they create scenarios, civil wars, man versus woman, black versus white, all these things, just to keep you, in that state of aggression, fear. They will have Cardi B, them putting out all that, them lustful songs and all that, to keep you to where you don't really harness this on that level. You got enough, and then you read some books, you feel a little intellectual. That kind of helps to delude you, actually bring more delusion to some extent, because if you're just reading, but you're not really tapping into what these thoughts and words of these esoteric writers are talking about, it remains as a vicarious experience. A lot of people are living based on secondary experience and not first-hand experience. Okay, so that's what we want to do. So the main thing is that you could tap into this. This is almost like a little hack of the game. Okay, if you could move into, imagine now when sunrise, you meet the sunlight right in when it first hits the earth, you in your meditation. And then midday, at the sun's peak, you in meditation. And then sunset. It's 3 horizons to Ra. Okay, so if you do this for a period of time, every day, let's say 30 minutes each interval, you will see magic occur in your life, especially you eat more watery foods. Even if you don't do that, I mean, I ate all kind of junk when I first started and still seen magic. So I ain't even, why does it, that's why the church say, come as you are. You already in the church. Okay, that's the funny thing. Come as you are. All right, so it's a beautiful thing when you start to do it. And now with the sexual energy, this energy that you harness knows what to do with the sexual energy. You can't just be celibate. You have to find something that brings you more pleasure. You can't just cut something off because that could be a suppression. Okay, so that's what the whole brahmacharya, abstaining from sex and food, they didn't just do that to what's the word I'm looking for, to damage the body or to punish the body. They integrated the body with light. That's all disease is. Disease is essentially just trying to take toxins out of the body and stagnant emotions to purify the blood to integrate the light. Disease happens when you don't do it consciously. And since you are a light being, you cannot be anything other than that. So then a disease then it's an adaptation that takes place where as the blood vessels get restricted, as the blood starts to get sluggish, the lymphatic system backs up, the body then cannot eliminate the toxins. So then it starts to store the toxins away. If it cannot eliminate, it's storing it away in the tissues. Hence, when you gain weight, the extra weight you have is protecting vital major organs. Okay, that's an intelligence at work. It's actually healthier for you to have that extra weight because of your diet, because your organs are being protected. So if you go and try to work out or do a fat burner or something without changing your diet to less toxicity, this could agitate the toxins and expose them to the toxins that was cleverly put away in the fat, in the excess water. Okay, so that's why when people go on diets and try to work out extensively, they gain it right back because that's a self-preservation technique. Okay, so it's everything that you think is happening to you is a mode of love. Okay, it's love. It's protecting you. Okay, so again, when you integrate the light, the renunciation of earthly pleasures is to integrate the light, what we just did. And the addiction to food and sex, along with the other, what we call the deadly sins, depletes this spiritual power. Then you get more. So the loss of this essence, this degeneration from this essence changes the genetics. It changes the avatar in our experience on earth. We become more like animals, or should I say artificial intelligences. So the powers that be that think that they control us to some extent, they want us to remain as an AI. Logical left brain, let me download this shit into you, but you don't access your intuition. Okay? The more you bring of that light and retain it, you become a higher intelligence, not just an artificial intelligence. All right? So, you know, that was a mouthful, you know what I mean? But yeah, you know, it gets deeper and deeper the more pure you become in the mind, not in action alone, okay, in the mind, okay? So this cleanses the mind, you power up the nervous system at will, and naturally over time, doing it every day for months, for years and years and years. It will change your entire life from experience. Okay. So I hope that resonated with you, with y'all. And if any other, if you want to make a comment, that's fine. Any question, but that's my 5 cents.